Welcome to the Wealthy Actor Podcast. I'm Valerie Hubbard, an industry veteran with 25 years dedicated to helping actors navigate the business side of their craft.
And I'm James Hallett, a fellow lifelong actor and coach, joining Valerie on this journey.
Here on The Wealthy Actor, we're diving deep into the stories and insights of actors from all walks of life.
We'll be unraveling the threads of success, failures, and everything in between.
So if you're ready to embark on a journey beyond the footlights, join us as we sit down with fascinating actors, industry experts, and thought leaders to uncover the secrets of becoming a truly wealthy actor. I'm Valerie Hubbard.
And I'm James Hallett.
And this is the Wealthy Actor Podcast, where the art of acting meets the business of building a truly prosperous life in the spotlight. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Wealthy Actor Podcast. My name is Valerie Hubbard, and I'm joined by my co-host,
James Hallett. Hi, Val. Nice to see you.
Hi. I am so excited about our guest today. She's one of my favorite people in the world.
Oh,
Her name is Miss Caroline Partridge. Let me read you her bio. So for the last 26 years, Caroline has worked as a stage and screen actress, puppeteer, which is cool, deviser, improviser, storyteller, and maker of several large and small scale companies, including storyteller and maker for several large small scale companies, including the Metropolitan Opera House, the LA Opera, the National Theater Studio, a Soho Theater, and Battersea Art Center. She will be appearing in the feature film The Roses, which is already out, isn't it? Alongside Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch, due to release at the end of the month, and is currently filming in a BBC children's series due for release next year. She also has her own podcast series, The Perception Podcast, in which she challenges the belief that hold us back from fulfilling our potential through fascinating conversations with incredible people who have changed their perception of themselves and their lives.
woohoo. Thanks, Val.
Oh, I want to listen to your podcast. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, you can. Val's been on
I've
my
been on
podcast.
it.
Yeah, she's been a guest.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I'm returning the favor.
you are. So, oh my God, so much. But first of all, I just want to hear about your new TV show on the BBC. Can you talk about it?
Well, it's part of this series has been going on. It's a kids series. It's on CBBC. And this series has been going on for about 11 years, 10 or 11 years. So it's the fourth series of this show. It's called Jamie Johnson FC. It's about football academy. So, and it's for older kids, you know. And yeah, it's really great. I'm filming. I've got 10 weeks back and forwards from Leeds, filming on location because that's where we film at Leeds University because they have this incredible sports kind of sports courses, sports science, presumably, where so there's lots of kind of tracks and pitches and all the things that we can go and film on. So it's great, yeah. And it was so um I don't know, it was just when I got this job, uh I I can really say just be completely yourself. Completely. I was completely and utterly myself when I just basically I had a conversation with the so first of all I did a self tape and I got a friend to read in over Zoom, you know. And I did this self tape and I thought, right, okay, I'll do it in a northern accent because it's in the, presumably it's in the north and that's what they want. Um, and so I I did this, sorry about the noise. Um, so I did this, and then they got back to me and they said, oh, the producer and the director and the casting director would like to do a Zoom with you, a recall via Zoom because they're in Leeds, obviously, and I'm in London. So anyway, I had just come back from teaching a week-long workshop for global members of the global majority performers, teaching them puppetry for a week at the Birmingham Rep. And this course I've been working on, about the last 4 years, so it's quite a big thing. Anyway, I had all these puppets in my sort of lying around the flat, and when I was talking to them, they said, "Hey, Caroline, how are you? What have you been up to?" And I said, "Well, I've been making some puppets today, actually." And they went, "Oh, do you have anything with you?" And I was like, "Nothing that I've finished making." And then I went, "Actually, I do have some Muppet style puppets, so that I'd been using for the course." So I pulled one of these things up, and I had this Muppet style puppet that I was doing some puppetry with, and it was waving its hand. We laughed so much, and I just thought, this is me. This is what I do. This is gonna not with the intention of making them laugh, but puppets are great because they're really great icebreakers. And so I did this, and then after I got the job, later on, I found out they were like, "We were trying to make your character, so we were trying to integrate puppets into your character, but you know, it would just be too much." And I was like, and I talked to them because I was so relaxed. I thought, look, this is me. I'm going to talk to you as I talk to you, and we did a bit of the read through, but it really wasn't that. The thing that it was just me being my authentic self. And they also said to my agent, they said, we really loved Caroline, and what we really like her to do is to bring herself to this part, just herself. So it's in your own accent. You don't have to do a northern accent, blah blah blah. Just bring yourself to this. And it was such a learning. I felt so comfortable because, when you try and be somebody else, what you think somebody wants to hear, or you think somebody wants to see, or you want to please somebody, invariably it's never, you kind of sell yourself short because what they really want to see is you shining through with all the foibles and all the funniness and all the mistakes and all the wonderfulness that you have. They want to see that, you know. And so whenever I go to things, I'm always like, with a casting or a self-tape. I mean, some of the self-tapes, I'm not, bloody hell, I was fantastic in that, you bastards. You haven't contacted me. Why haven't you contacted me, you bastards? But it's like what, I'm good. I'm like, I go with that kind of thing. Or rather, I'm me. Here I am. And, for other actors listening, it is so crucially important because people want to see you and they like you. And they may have an idea for the character in their head. Um, but actually, you can go in and you can blow that totally out of the water by just being yourself, and being engaging.
Yeah, what you just said. I mean, you said a lot, which I agree with. And one of the things is that the that trying to please someone else takes an enormous amount of our energy,
Oh God, yeah.
right? And so if that's our focus, then all they're going to see is us trying to please.
Yeah.
And if we follow your advice and we're just like, here I am, this is, that they actually get a much richer, more human, expanded sense of this other presence in front of them,
Yeah.
which is really lovely. Yeah.
Well, this exactly, James. I mean, this is it. And I had just been teaching a week-long course and saying to people, there is no such thing as perfection. And then I actually went, actually, perfection is being your authentic self. Perfection is giving yourself permission to be your authentic self and not giving a damn actually about what people think about that. You know, it's so important, really. And and recently I did a thing that was like a comedy thing. This is
Mm.
part of the reason I'm going to Edinburgh as well. Um, is that I have a comedy character, that a sort of clown character, but not clown as in red nose and big shoes. Um, and and I had to basically improvise 2 hours of comparing for this talent show that was for my friend's birthday, kind of big birthday bash. And I just thought, right, okay, this character I've only ever kind of like exposed in a workshop, and I had a tiny piece of A5, half an A1 piece of A2, sorry, piece of paper with three things written on it, three kind of sort of semi jokes. And I was like, oh God, I've got half an hour. They're going to give me the running order. They're going to give me the running order. I'm going to fiddle around with the running order. It's in this huge barn that was kind of like, sort of like amazing lights. It was done up incredibly out in
Yeah.
Somerset. I thought they're going to give me the running order. Oh my God. And then they are going to, and then that's it. I'm in front of, and it wasn't 10 people, it was about 150 people, you know, and I'm going to debut this clown compare character. Um, and I just bloody went for it. Well, I did have two tequilas before I had two shots of tequila.
Kids, don't drink and act.
Yeah. So I had two shots of tequila, and then I just got on the stage, and people after, I'm not kidding you, people were they were crying. People were like, that was so funny. We were crying with laughter, all of us. And this is from like little kids to adults to, and my friend was like, we sat there for 2 hours. I didn't want to move. It was hilarious. People were rolling around, holding their stomachs because it was just so funny. And for me, it was a blur, a blur. But
Blah.
yeah, blur. But I committed to it. That was the thing. I just went, right, okay, I'm going to start with this joke that the one of the three things that I'd written down. I thought, I'm going to start with this. They said, oh, Caroline, the second act isn't ready. And I went, okay, everyone. Because everybody was 60, so so I did a joke about, age. And it was quite a visual joke as well. And after that, after the first 10 minutes, they loved it. People were
Is
like, "Oh my
that
God."
wait, but wait, is that what you're doing are you going to repeat that in Edinburgh?
Well, I'd like to do a version of that
Wait, do
as
you
a
have a
show.
stage to do it on when you go there?
So no, I'm going this tonight. I'm going as a recce for next year, just to
Ah.
see how the land lies, and then just do this for next year. But I know that that character does something to me that makes me open in a way that is kind of, somebody who was watching it said, you're a high status clown. It's very,
Well, look at Pee Wee's Playhouse or, Mr. Bean. They made a shit ton of money from doing like one character, right? That they
yeah.
Mr. Rogers, Captain Kangaroo. I mean, I can go on and on, but like, right?
But it's funny. I mean, in England, we have people like, there's the Mighty Boosh. It's that kind of weird, sort of clowny kind of, they're
Yeah.
clowns,
Yes. Yes.
Reeves and Mortimer, Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer, I mean, these people that maybe you guys haven't heard of that much, but are very, very funny, quite surreal, really funny.
Mhm.
And the thing I did, I just went, I'm going to do and say what makes me laugh. What makes and people coming up to me afterwards going, oh my God, that's just my sense of humor. That's so hilarious. It was so we were crying, and I was like, oh, thanks, thanks so much. It was so wonderful for people to be so effusive and so genuine and so generous and so forthcoming with all these wonderful compliments. I was like, wow, and again, it's funny, things, once you shift your vibration, once you kind of
Mm.
open yourself to being in a different space, allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to live differently, from your mind first,
Ah,
everything else changes.
I have a friend who just went to clown school in France at the Philippe Gaulier
Well, yeah,
Center.
yeah,
And one of the things she came away with was she said um, that they wanted you to fail.
yeah,
And not in a negative sense, like they didn't want you to succeed. They wanted you to dive in completely and fail in the most beautiful, committed way.
yes.
And I think that one of the things that I hear in what you're saying is that we have to find a way to be okay with our truth and with how we shine out in the world. Like, and if we're okay with our truth, and if we're okay with how we shine out, then we open the door for people to be with us. Um,
yeah,
all the armor.
yeah.
Um,
Yes.
Well, this is it. That's beautifully put, James, because it is opening the door and it is saying, I mean, the whole thing with clowning is that I'm standing here and I'm being vulnerable and this is me bare, and you're kind of going, look, I mean, the flop. That's the thing they call it when nobody laughs and you go, oh my God, there's tumbleweed rolling across the room. Um, and I did a course. I'd like to go to Gaulier actually, but I did a course. I started in April this year and I did a 5 days. And in that 5 days with this amazing teacher, Aitul Basuri, who is with this company called Spy Monkey, I learnt so much, not just about clowning, but also about myself and about who I try and push into the world sometimes as a front to protect myself, which we all do. We all kind of go in situations where we feel a bit unsure, we kind of go, I'm going to push this particular. With me, it's been big, you know.
mm, mm,
And Ital said to me, he said, yeah, okay, And actually, that is my energy. I do have big energy. Um, but he was like saying, he said, is that sometimes is that always you? And I came away and I just thought, you bastard, you've seen me. I thought, you see me.
mm,
You see me. And and because I'm open enough, and I think that also comes with age and experience, because I'm open enough to go, actually, what you've said is completely true. I accept it. And I have the power to change it. I have the power to go back in and allow myself to be vulnerable because when you're vulnerable, people can see you. And that again is the thing about tapping into your authenticity because they can actually see you. We're
mm,
not throwing out all this stuff. No, we're throwing out ourselves to the mercy of
mm,
to the mercy of everyone who encounters us saying this is me and so many people just actually really I don't think people really do it. I think we as a society live in a world of image and idea and not of reality. Everything is this augmented reality and slightly separate reality that provides a protection. And when you kind of go, I'm going to be real, really real, you know. One of my friends
mm,
said to me, they went, yeah, you're fucking real. And some people can't take it because you are, but I can't be anybody but myself, you know. Um, they when you do that, like you said, it's exactly what you said. You open the door for people to kind of go, oh, I can reach out and connect with you in a way that is authentic and in a way that is um just so it's so enriching, it's so energetic. Actually, it's like an explosion, isn't it? This energy that creates more energy when you really connect with people. Like when I came off that stage after 2 hours with all of these, and I kind of felt, I was just like, whoa, it felt like probably about 10 minutes. And I felt quite sort of like, whoa, what just happened? Because, yeah, because it was such a, I was like a steam train. I just went and went with things, just did things. People are like, I got the audience. If there was a lull and I was standing there by myself at the beginning, I said to the audience, I said, look, if I'm standing here by myself, whilst we're waiting for the other acts to come, I'd like you to join me in all by myself. Don't want to be all by myself. And so getting the audience to kind of do that, we had a riot. It was fantastic. And it's just made me go,
So
oh my
good.
God, it's given me more ideas.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So you are manifesting so many things towards you right now. You're like
Oh,
in the manifestation flow. Like,
yeah.
so talk to me. We're the wealthy actor here. Talk to me a little bit because we can talk to you about manifesting money.
Yeah.
I want to hear that about manifesting money and how it's shown up for you because you've really keyed into it this year.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, last year, I mean, it's interesting, and the year before,
Yeah.
really, you know, um, I was doing so basically when I was so lockdown comes along, and I kind of went, uh, okay, I want to do well, before lockdown, I was thinking about getting my voice out into the world. And I thought, how am I going to get my voice out into the world and talk about things that I think are important and talk to people about their, transformations, etc. And so I thought, podcast. And I'm going to apply to the Arts Council for for a thing called DYCP, which is Develop Your Creative Practice, which is a grant scheme, which is a grant where people can apply for a certain amount of money. I think it's between, now it's more money, but when I applied, it was between 2,000 and 10,000 pounds. The top whack was 10 grand. And basically it's develop your creative practice isn't about kind of producing an end result. It was about really keying in to where you are and saying how you want to develop. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to create a podcast and the outline of a one-woman show. And so when I applied, it was really interesting. When I applied, I, pre-applying, I had done a lot of self-development work on healing my money story because we all have a story that we carry around with us about money. And I work with this amazing woman called Anastasia Girali or Girali. She's based in Cyprus, and I work with this amazing woman, and um, it was incredible. It was kind of like I don't know. She created this container, this group with just it was females really, and we sort of over lockdown. It was so wonderful because it was so spiritual and it gave me time. It gave me respite to really look at my life until this point and go, what have I been doing in my life and where am I and what has my story with money been? And I kind of looked at that and I thought, because the thing is, I'm bloody good at what I do, and I can make money. But then it was this kind of up and down thing, you know, the money coming, the money going, the money coming, the money. Oh my God. Sort of the lack of consistency. And I was just like, right, okay, what is this about? And through lots of kind of like meditations and hypnotherapy kind of things and exercises that are all part of her, program, I uh there was one particular thing I remember, and this is it. When you asked me about how's the money story changed, this, and I'll go back to the grant in a minute, but I went, I did this meditation, and it was crazy. I saw money. You do this thing, you're walking down some stairs and you closed your eyes, and money was standing there. I'm getting goosebumps. And I saw money. Money was so, like, the personification of money for me was so beautiful. It was a she was about 7 foot tall and green, and emerald. Oh my God, amazing. And I saw this like incredible uh being, and I was like, wow. And I just said, I'm really sorry for not trusting you, because you've actually always been there for me.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't, and I wrote a letter to Money kind of apologizing and saying, look, oh my God, you've always been there, you've always supported me, you've always, and it's really interesting because that was about trust.
Mm.
And when you look at money, your relationship with money, it does mirror your relationship with your friends. It's for me, I looked at that and I thought, hang on a minute, what's this? With certain friends, it was just like, so if the relationship breaks, why does it break down? And it was this correlation between the how we interact with money energetically and how we interact with friends. And it was so crazy when I did this thing and I wrote this letter, this healing letter, and I just sort of, and I was like, oh my God, that just feels fantastic. And I was just like, I don't need to worry. And then normally, with me, I'd be thinking when I applied for this DYCP grant, it was during lockdown. Normally 5,000 people apply. 10,000 people applied because obviously it was lockdown and people are twiddling their thumbs going, I need some cash. You know, 10,000 people applied. And I applied and I knew I was going to get 10 grand. And I did. And I knew in September, I applied in February, the following February. But when I decided, I'd chosen and I decided. And then in February, I did the grant application. And then in April, I got the full amount, my first
You just
application
followed the
ever.
steps because you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I allowed
I,
the
I,
steps
I just want to
to my
stop there
parents.
because I want to say something. You followed the steps because you knew you were going to get it.
Yeah,
Remember the $1 million story I always tell? Like if there was $1 million buried in your apartment, you would dig everything up until you found it. It's the same thing. The actors don't go after their career because they don't think they can get it or they
exactly.
don't believe in themselves or whatever. But if they like this new thing I'm pursuing, what I have found, like this is what happened with me with Actors Fast Track. I'm going to talk money for a minute. In the first 3 months of Actors Fast Track, I made 6 figures
Wow.
because I was damn good at helping actors get their career that they wanted. I was good at it. And I had taught in an acting school for 13 years, and everyone knew that. Right. And they wanted me to help them. And so it was like sell, 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 sell. And I was so excited because I built this company fast. Of course, 13 years, I've learned a lot and I've fallen and I've gotten back up and all those things. But when you find something that you are attuned to and this is my part, this is my thing, then it's like the drive is joyful. It sometimes it sucks. Some of the things you have to do suck, like get hiring an attorney and all this stuff, right? But like when you're doing something big, but it's like you have to do that stuff, but you're going to get it. And you get it because it's the energy. It's crazy.
Well, I knew I was allowing
Crazy.
myself also, I was allowing myself also to just focus on the end result,
Mm-hmm.
but not think about how I was going to.
Yes.
I just took,
And not
like,
even knowing how necessarily.
yeah, I just took aligned, positive aligned action. So when my gut said to me, go for a walk in September, so the September, my gut said to me, go for a walk and go for a walk along the coast. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for a coastal walk. It's going to be 15 miles. I'll start at my friend's place and I'll end at, wherever. And again, lockdown. So, or just, whatever, not that many people out and about. Anyway, so I was at my friend's house by the sea. And then they were saying, well, we could give you a map. We could do this, we could do it. And I was like, no, no, it'll be fine. Oh. Anyway, so I start walking and I get to the bit that, and I'm like thinking, shit, I wish I'd asked for a map because I don't know which way I'm supposed to go because the Google wasn't working, the Google Maps, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, I don't know. So there was about 5 people dotted around and I saw this couple and I thought, it's those two. And I went up to this couple and I just said, oh, hi, are you going on the coastal walk? And they were like, yeah. And I said, would you mind if I walked with you? Because I'm not quite sure which way to go. And they were like, yeah, yeah, sure. Anyway, so we started walking and really lovely couple, older couple. And they were saying to me, so Caroline, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm an actress and a puppeteer and I'm starting a podcast. I didn't say, I hadn't even applied for the money for the funding or anything. I said, I'm starting a podcast about perception. And we talked to loads about perception and then I said, and also I'd like to teach actors to be better actors through puppetry. I'd like to go to some drama schools and sort of like do some of these courses. And then I said to them, so what do you do? And Charles, he said, oh, well, I used to be a lecturer at Cambridge and then I lectured at Durham, and my speciality is visual perception. And then I said, so what do you do, Madeline? And Madeline, she's the dean of a university. Actually, or vice dean. She was very modest. And she said, oh, well, East 15 Drama School. I work with East 15 Drama School. So I could talk to, them about, these courses, etc., puppetry and stuff, because it's a drama school. Going to be teaching drama students. And that's when I knew that I would get the money because then I had a conversation with somebody else and I said, oh, I'd really like to incorporate a bit of magic. I'd like to talk about because illusion, perception and illusion, I'm really interested in these things. And I said, oh, I'd like to talk. And my friend said, oh, why don't you talk to Pete? And I said, who's Pete? And he said, oh, he's a magician, but he's worked with David Blaine and Darren Brown, who's a big magician here. And I was like, oh my God. So I just talked to him. I phoned him up and I said, hi, I'm doing a show about perception. He went, wow, I did a show about perception recently. You know, I, you know, and things align. Once you decide, you kind of go, right, okay, that's it. And then you kind of, you take positive aligned action. When your gut says, go for a walk, or sit next to that person or go to that. Do it. Don't ask why, just
And
do
how
it.
would you recommend that they tune their gut? If they don't say it, like I never hear myself say stuff because I hear someone saying that.
Well, the thing is, it's practice, isn't it? Because
Mm,
the thing, it's funny because we do hear our gut, but we ignore it. That's
yes.
the thing. And it's kind of going, don't ignore what your gut tells you And that again also takes bravery and it takes practice because people are afraid. But my gut's saying, leave this place. My gut's saying, chuck this person. My gut's saying, leave my agent. My gut's saying, do this, do that. Oh, my gut's saying, do, but the fear of, failure, the fear of, the world coming to it, and my world is going to come to an end. That's just our ego saying, be small, stay, be small. Don't draw outside the lines because if you do, something terrible will happen.
I mean, I also think it's just someone trying, our other self trying to keep us safe,
Yeah, exactly.
right? I
Why
mean,
don't
it's
I
just,
feel safe?
that's the way I'm like, thank you. It's kind of like, I was in a mastermind yesterday and I was insulted by a they them that was a misogynistic pig. Okay. Which I find hilarious. But anyway, I was just like it's like sometimes the dings come, right? The dings come
Mm.
when you're trying to get that. And so because like you said before, people are jealous. Was that you? No.
Mm, don't think so.
No, you didn't say that. It was
Mm.
my last call
Get that, get that
because it's
energy
all
away.
coming together because everything is connected and the path is in front of me. And it's so exciting. I get excited, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. You know, and it's scary.
Well, this is it because fear and excitement are on the same polarity. They're the set that they're either ends
Yes.
of the same, you know, of the same spectrum. So you've got fear where somebody might be going, "Oh my God, I'm going to stand in front of a load of people
Yeah.
and perform." Everybody says, "Oh, the idea of standing on a stage and speaking to loads of
Yeah.
people is really frightening." And I'm like, it's exciting because I've gotten to, you know,
That's
Yeah.
that that's exactly one of the. I mean, when I work with people who are experiencing stage fright,
Mm.
I help them to reframe it because
Yes.
that energy is exactly what we need to be on stage, right? Like we need that energy. Um, and but how we frame it, how we speak to the what we're experiencing in our body really matters.
Mhm.
Um, and I love what you're talking about. So I do imagery and dream work, um, and one of the things that we learn is that our intuition is the quiet voice. It's not afraid, right? The intuition is not a terrified voice. It's quiet. And so part of the challenge of finding these moments is to allow ourselves to find silence, right? To find enough stillness and enough quiet, which means letting go of our cell phones and letting go of all these distractions,
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know.
completely. You're so right. It is about that kind of it's tuning into your higher self.
Yeah.
It's kind of going, I need just to I mean, everybody always all the time talks about mindful. It's not actually mindful, it's mind empty. We have to empty our mind of everything. And when you sit and you kind of really, if you try and, it is hard, but you can, and we kind of think, no thoughts, no thoughts. But actually, you have to acknowledge the thought and then say, not now. It's like somebody knocking on the door. If you don't go to the door and answer the door, they will continue to knock. If you answer the door and say, not today, thank you, they'll go. And it's just that continued practice of that, okay, not now, not now, brings out kind of connection to source, where things then can pop into your mind and you go, oh my God, we're in our genius, we have genius things, and then every genius ideas, and then everything aligns. All these other things align. Somebody said in the comments, I think I'm going to make that call. Bloody do it. You know, do it. Because what is the worst that can happen?
Yeah. What is the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I always tell this story because it's a good news story. We had a client last year who, sent a thank you note after a great audition to the casting director and to the showrunner, because she had the showrunner's email. And the showrunner was confused because he didn't know who this person is. And so he contacted the casting director. He wasn't upset. He just didn't know who it was. Well, the
Mm.
casting director decided that that was a terrible thing and that the actor should have never done that. So she called and screamed and cussed out the agent, who then dropped my client. And she called my client and she told her that you'll never work and I'll ruin your career and blah, 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 blah. Since that, in the last year, she's received 5 more auditions from that casting director, and she got a much better agent. Right. So sometimes we jump off the cliff, or so like each transformation that you go to, if you treated it with joy instead of, oh my God, this is happening to me, what am I going to do? If you just went, oh, this is supposed to happen to me, and welcome, because I know it's going to take me to the next thing.
Mm.
Right. And that's what I was sort of talking about this guy yesterday, because it's like, remember that when you are in the flow, there are going to be, I always think now, I figure it's a sign now that I'm doing the right thing. When the hater shows up or the loudmouth shows up, right? They always do when I'm on the right path. And so now, instead of going, oh, you stupid hater, I'm like, thank you. I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
weird because it happened to me in my mastermind yesterday. Right. And it was a misogynistic pig thing to say to me that this person said to me, and never met me before. Valerie, you're great, honey. I love you. You don't know me. Right. Like, right. And then come out with some comment and was like, I was just like, so taken aback. Right. That he said that. It was not my mastermind, where I go to
Yeah.
be mastermind, my business mastermind, not my actors. It wasn't that. Because in fact, if one of my actors had said that to another actor, I would have been like, listen, you need to prove your point. You made a harsh statement and that probably hurt that person's feelings. So let us know why you said that, why you
Yeah.
think it's, and
That's
how that person can take that information and make it work for them. Right. So you're going to run into that. So I think like each, because every time you're going for something, you fall and skin your knee, right? And you get hurt, right? Right. I mean, every time you don't get something that you really wanted, right? Or you thought, oh, that was the thing I was going to get, I was a match to, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the thing that doesn't happen is because the person on the other side wasn't aware of their match.
And I think it is that thing that when you were talking, that something came to me that I thought, oh, brilliant, and I've forgotten what it was. But I think what you're saying there, when people kind of chime in with this sort of negative energy, it's so, I always find I kind of go, well, the thing is, and again, this takes practice, but it's like that has nothing to do with me.
Exactly.
That's yours. You keep
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
That's nothing.
This is,
Yes.
I totally agree. Um, and I think also that the one of the questions that brings up is how to have healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean with other people, I mean inside of ourselves. So
Yes.
that we're
Yes.
actually able to ask the question, okay, I hear what that person is saying. Is that something that I actually need to address, or is it not about me? And that ability to distinguish also needs space, right? Needs the pause,
Yeah.
which means not going into reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. It is so, because there are things that we just kind of go, oh my God, I really want to react. I mean, somebody irritated me so much the other day that I had to wait a week before I responded, and I'm still a
Or
bit
write the response and then delete it. Sometimes that helps me.
yeah,
Like, or write the
yeah,
Facebook post and then delete it, right? Just to get it out. It's like punching bag, because we, well, especially in America, it's really bad. Like people think they can say anything, right? And it's like a free reign right now. And now it's going to even get worse. It's going to get worse,
Mm.
right? Because now we have governors making fun of presidents and it's all like crazy, right? And so it is going to get so loud, right? And so I think it's like you have to have the ability to go, that's them and not me. And how do I take care of me in this situation right now?
Yeah, it really is. It's sort of, we practice kind of physical hygiene, but it's spiritual hygiene and it's mental hygiene, where you kind of go, actually, I'm not going to look at things that are, and it's really difficult not to because you want to scroll through but I'm not going to look at those things that are really just so negative because it's just sort of pulling you away and it creating more of this stuff. It's pulling you away from positivity. And I'm not talking about toxic positivity where we're skipping along going, oh, yes, everything's fine. But I'm talking about kind of adding our energy to things, a pool of kind of darkness, if you know what I mean. It's so, like you say, it's so draining. It really is draining.
Well, I mean, and also actors have a story that was written for us by
Mm,
generational tapping down. Because if you look
mm,
at our origin story, we came out of religion and ritual. That's what we were born
yeah,
out of. And then, Shakespeare's days, we were the whores, prostitutes, thieves. Then we were
yeah.
owned in the 30s by the studios, and now we're kept down by these platforms. Spotlight, Actors No Access, all of the platforms were kept down, um and left, and sort of like we become the abused wife. Oh, you're not supposed to do that, sit over there, I'll put you on a blacklist, bad
Mm,
actor, right? Like, so then you come, like, if you have ever met a dog that's been hit a lot, they'll often come to you and they'll be like this when they greet you. So that's
mm.
actors are like that. And so then they're scared out of building a business that's successful, and they let everything that everyone says to them affect them,
Oh
right? And
God.
I know that because we're emotional on top of it. And then we have this framing that needs to be completely reframed in how we think about ourselves as a product, as a business.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
lot of reframing that has to occur.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You kind of have to really make decisions about what you want. And I mean, I've titted about for years, and it's kind of, and I've kind of got to the point now where I'm like, actually, I want this, I want this, I want this, and I have clarity about what I want, you know, and also let this be kind of a positive thing for people to hear that it doesn't matter what age you are, you know, it will happen when it's supposed to happen if you believe that it's going to happen, because belief is the main thing. You've got to believe it because if you don't believe, And also, when you were just talking there about actors, I was thinking also, actors are the change makers.
They
Actors
are.
and performers are the brave ones, the
Yes,
change
we
makers,
are.
the voices,
We
the
just have to
voice
get our bravery
stand
back.
up.
It's been sort of stepped on a lot in the
Yeah.
garden, right? And it's just like, but it's
Yeah.
there. It's your coat. It's a bravery coat, and actors
Mm.
have it. We're so, I mean, we're just brave in general to just choose this career
Oh God.
path.
Oh
That
yeah.
just makes us brave on a whole new level because most people don't choose their dream.
Exactly. And for that, you have to kind of go, wow, wow, I pat myself on the back to
Yeah.
say, I've kept going and I'm doing, and it's not just surviving, it's thriving. But you have to choose that. You have to kind of go, well, I make this choice. And there is bravery and there is belief. Like I said, belief. I think once you do some healing, if you need to work on stuff, look, for me personally, it was looking at patterns in my life and going, what are the patterns here?
Yeah.
what happens when this happens or that happens? What kind of pattern do I then adopt? And then looking deeper than that, and another layer and going, well, why am I, what belief is it that I have that
Mm.
isn't true about myself? And then going further than that and going, right, okay, well, let's get rid of that belief, recognize that belief, name it. Because when you name something, it takes the power away from it. Because all of those things that we have in our lives, that go, oh my God, it's unknown. Somebody's got some unknown whatever, and it's, and it's frightening. But once you name the thing, you go, okay, it's named. Power is now.
That is so true.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, what? I don't know. Because we're obsessed with needing to know.
Yes,
But once you
I am
name them,
obsessed with that.
exactly. And sometimes actually you don't need to know stuff. But also it's just like, it's like once you name the thing, you could go, this is what it is. I can let it go
Yeah,
because it's
It's
not serving me.
it, it's so true, and it's also useful to name the negative voices in our own head.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
to actually give it a name,
Yeah.
or to identify where that voice comes from,
Mm.
and really give it that identity. What you were saying about naming it reminded me of there's a story about demons, that a demon can have power over you unless you know its name. And the moment you
Yeah.
know the name, the moment
Dave. I don't know why it's like Dave.
Dave, yeah, exactly. Because right, because once you can name it, then you can call it out, right?
Exactly. You can call it out,
Yes.
you know. And that's the thing. You kind of go, I've gotten rid
It's
of
the
that
Wizard
belief.
of Oz.
Yeah. Yeah. The mighty Oz. Oh, he's just some bloke, you
Yeah,
know, just some little bloke.
yeah.
Uh um yeah. But I really do think for me it's been kind of doing really things that changed for me were healing the stories,
Hmm.
getting rid of the beliefs that aren't true and that not serving me, then kind of allowing myself to be in the vibration of being open and believing that I deserve stuff. Replacing those beliefs that aren't true with beliefs that are true. Like, I deserve to be wealthy. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be uh, famous, if that's what I want. I deserve to be,
You should be famous. You will be famous.
yeah, I bloody
Um,
am. Bloody am.
I
Will
know we
be.
have to let you go. So, first of all, are there any questions?
I haven't seen any questions. Um, um, so since there are no questions, let me just say I watched all your reels in preparation for this, and I love your acting. I love your work. I watched the Pan Tao, um,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the other stuff as well. And I'm excited to see you in the film that's coming out, The Rose,
Yeah, yeah, the roses, yeah.
The Roses,
Roses.
the War of the Roses. Yeah.
Oh, the
Um,
rose, yeah. It's a remake. So it's a remake with Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman.
Olivia. And isn't your scene with her? Who's your scene
I've
with?
got a scene with her, yeah, and with also Ncuti Gatwa, which is Doctor Who. He's the
oh,
young guy who's in Sex Education and Doctor as our new
Wait,
Doctor
who
Who.
cast you in the film?
It was, I think it was Nina Gold,
Uh,
mm,
yeah, her office. And if it wasn't, I apologize, but I think it was. And
because I was thinking of Andy Pryor as like the casting director I always want to meet.
oh yeah,
He's
yeah,
the one that cast Doctor Who.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And um, where we filmed was beautiful down in Devon,
mm,
place called Salcombe in Devon. Beautiful, beautiful place. Which they're kind of the film is on general release at the end of August. I'm going to the cast and crew screening on again at the end of August in the afternoon. So the first screening, at which everybody should be there. The production company. So the guy who directed it's Jay Roach, who directed yeah, um, Meet the Fockers, Meet the, all that business. Really good, really the most. And this is the thing, these really giant kind of directors, he is the most humble, the most uh quiet and lovely and just wonderful person. It's such a pleasure. There's me coming in. I'm like, oh, hi. Hey, Caroline. We at this beautiful hotel in Salcombe. He's just like comes over and shakes my hand and says, oh, thank you so much. And I'm like thinking, thank you. Um, just so lovely. Just everybody was so lovely. And also, the production company, I think it's Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch, they have a company.
Ah,
And I didn't film with him, but I at our wrap party, I met Benedict Cumberbatch. And interestingly enough, he was doing this Netflix thing called Eric, I think, was it called? It was a puppet thing, this giant puppet, and he plays puppeteer. And I said to him, oh, the guy that plays the giant kind of puppet is somebody who his first job, which I was one of the people who said, yeah, let's get this guy in, was with me in theatre, puppetry, his first sort of like a puppetry job in theatre. And I just said to Benedict,
I just
um,
said to Benedict.
I had a lovely conversation with him. And it's interesting. He also is the most charming, the most lovely man, you
hmm.
know. And he said, oh, have we worked together before? I'm sure we've worked together. And I was just like thinking, we're going to. We're going to be working together, mate. Believe me. Because I've decided on it that it's there. He said, oh, I'm sure, I recognize you. Have we worked together before? And I was like, we
Well,
will
you
be.
were all over their TVs with that
Yeah,
Christmas commercial.
yeah, yeah. But
You've been in a lot of commercials too. So sometimes,
yeah.
like when you're in so many commercials, people because they see you, you know, and then
Well, this is it. And that Christmas commercial actually was directed by Autumn de Wilde, who is she directed Emma.
yeah,
She's a fantastic, fantastic director. And uh, yeah, and she was so wonderful. She was just like, you're so funny. I want to,
you are funny. And
yeah,
Graham Norton, she did the commercial with Graham Norton, who we
yeah,
love.
yeah,
We think he's all hilarious.
yeah. But it was just so. It's so great, when you kind of go, actually, what was I doing? Because before that, I was doing like this job in this, whilst I was getting my podcast together, I thought I
Mm.
don't want to be distracted, and I just want to focus on the podcast for a year. And I had this job at this university for a year, um, and it was killing my soul, to be honest with you. And then when I stopped, I kind of finished that job. It came to the end of this year contract. I made so much money by stopping that and then just doing what I love because I allowed
That
myself.
okay, wait. That is okay.
That's the key.
You have to say that again. I it was
I
so
made
fantastic.
so much money in doing what I love. I
Yeah,
just
you
do it.
stopped doing what you stopped doing what you were doing that you don't love.
Yeah,
And the minute you shifted to doing
yeah,
what you loved,
boom,
made money.
Boom.
yeah.
That's a
Some of
genius
the
move.
cash. It was great. I was like, oh my God. It was fantastic. And met lots of really wonderful people, and I'm still meeting lots of really wonderful people. And now I'm kind of going, I'm doing more of what I love. And I have visions of
Mm.
so I have a vision of my one woman show because there were loads of things that I was kind of like I was thinking I'd really like to do. Um, and I I thought back recently about these things that I'd written down. I choose the end result of teaching life-changing kick-ass workshops that plug people into their power to create magic. I've done that. Somebody who did one of my workshops said that was life-changing. And I was like, wow, I choose the end result to whatever it was. I can't remember. There was something else that I said, and I was just like, wow, these things that I'm choosing, they've been my focus,
It's so
and
important.
they're materializing.
Yeah. It's what I say to the actors all the time. When I say, "What do you want?" They go, "Oh, I just want to be a working actor." I'm like, "Well, you're working and you call yourself an actor. That's not what you mean, is it?" No, I want this. And the more specific you are, just like in acting, the more specific you are, the better you are. The more specific you are in focusing on that thing, right? And saying it, saying the end results and leaving it there and then taking action.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we James and I did that same work with our coach that we had together, and she calls it like the end of life goals. So you sit down and you go, if and you take the different things that you'd like to be able to say at the end of your life you did, right?
Yes.
And then you work backwards and make sure what you're doing in your life is aligning with your end of life.
Yeah.
Now I'm just thinking, is that it's Shola? I've just seen that. Is that you, Shola? Shola Adewisi, who I've done a show with here. Shola, you just put that is the big takeaway for me. The result of pursuing what you love. Now, if that's Shola,
Well,
is
how
that
many
Shola the
Sholas are there? Yes, she said
Yes,
yes.
yes.
same? Yeah, baby, baby. Oh, mwah. Shola and I
Shola,
did.
thanks for coming.
Shola's. Oh my God, you need to get Shola on your next episode, because Shola is we did a few years ago a kids series again, the CBBC series, uh, and we worked together, and she's now just been on for ages. You'll know her. Bob Loves Abishola. Bob Loves. Is it Bob Loves? What is it? Show. It's in LA.
Bob Hearts,
Bob Hart's
Abishola.
Abishola. Yeah. So she's grandma in that, aren't you, Shola? Um,
Awesome.
and yeah,
Shola, let's talk. Let's talk.
yeah, guys are in contact with each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bob
Oh, it's
Hart.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
Okay, awesome.
Auntie Olu. So yeah, Shola. Oh my God, my darling, so lovely to have you present here. Really gorgeous. This is a wonderful woman. And again, with this story, you should really have a conversation, because she kind of was doing like little bits and pieces and did chewing gum, and then went to LA to do this show, and things have really changed.
Mm.
That's it, I think. It's like it's have no fear. Have no fear.
Be brave.
Cultivate giving yourself permission to have what you desire. Give yourself permission to cultivate that and go, actually, do you know what? I should I should have a little thing that says, fuck it. Because I just go, yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it. You know, say yes. Say yes to things. Be spontaneous. Don't think about the outcome.
Listen to your gut.
Listen to your gut. Allow your gut to be heard above all the bullshit kind of exactly fuck it. Allow allow your gut to be heard above all the bullshit bollocks that people are telling you. Oh, you can't do this, you shouldn't do that. When I got up on that stage, honestly, this weekend, the weekend that's just gone, when I got up on that stage, I thought there's over 100 people here, 150, whatever.
Mhm.
I have not seen any of these acts. There was no rehearsal. I have a piece of scribbled paper, but he's writing on a scribbled paper of like 20 different acts. This is going to go on forever. I'm just going to go for it. These little ideas that I have, I'm going to do it. And honestly, the joy, and what you said earlier about joy, the joy that was just in that whole room, the joy that was emanating from me because I was in it. I was
Yeah.
in, I was in love with me, not in a kind of weird sort of like egotistical
No,
way,
I
but in this,
totally know
I
what you're saying.
I was in love with what I'm doing. I'm in love with what I do. And isn't that a wonderful place to be? You know, it's just like be open. I would say to people, look, be open, know thyself. You know, when somebody that actually is, you just think, actually, this person isn't telling me, you know, things to be horrible. They're being honest with me. Bloody listen. Bloody listen and make, and when you listen to that, go, actually, is this the truth? Because deep down, it will be the truth. And you can go, why do I do that? I do that to stay small. I do that not to be seen. I do that for this reason or the other. And then when you've whatever the reason is, kind of go, right, okay, what I give myself permission to be seen. I give myself permission to have things. I give myself permission to be successful. I give myself permission to be happy.
I love when people tell me I don't really want the fame thing. Bullshit. I give myself permission to get whatever I want, no matter what's the occurrence of that. Don't
It's
tell me that. You're just saying that because you don't think you can get it.
exactly, exactly. We make
Yeah.
so many
I always
excuses.
think it's hilarious when someone says that to me. I don't care about the fame thing. Okay.
Oh, I
That's
bloody
why you're
do.
an actor. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it for the,
I'm
the,
so in love with acting. Okay.
well,
Well,
yeah,
I'm one of the best actors I know. And I'm in love with acting, but like
yeah.
I
I mean, this thing also, you can be really bloody brilliant, but if you don't believe it and you don't put yourself out there,
yeah,
nobody's going to see you.
yeah.
You know, all of those things that you said to me, when we had when I was in the group, it's just like, actually put yourself out there, contact people. People have to know, you
Yeah.
know.
If you're not working, it's just because no one knows you.
Exactly.
It's
They
really
will.
that simple. And it's like, but you're like, oh my God, but it's like so much drama between that and just get on with it.
Yeah.
If they knew
But
you, they would want to work with you.
it's that thing, it's choose and decide. Choose what it is you want, decide to take some positive aligned action to
Mm-hmm.
that thing. You know, not what you think you should be doing, but just allow it to drop in. Allow the kind of thought. Because sometimes you go, oh, that's it. And then you go, oh my God, yeah. Well, what if I go for that? Like I said, what if I go for that walk? What if I just send a letter to that person? What if I decide to go to this show? I mean, I go to things a lot on my own because I'm like, I want to see stuff. you know, People kind of go, I mean, I am meeting a friend who's actually from New York who's gone to
And you
Edinburgh.
have to go, P.S.
Yeah. But
Okay, I just want to make sure you know
I,
what time
I,
it is.
yeah, thank
I'm
you.
not trying to chase you out, but you said you had to go.
Did say, yeah, I know what I'm like once I start. Oh my God. But but um but it's that thing, isn't it? If you want to do something and nobody else wants to do it, fuck it. Who
Mhm.
cares? Go and do it. Don't wait. Oh my God, waiting for other people to make up their bloody minds. Jesus, that is the kiss of death.
Yeah.
Well, no. Put yourself first. That's another thing. Put yourself first. Because when you change yourself and your vibration, everyone else around you, they all change. Everything changes, everything shifts. But you have to put yourself first. You have to have care, self-care. And that I think that's really important. It's not
Yeah.
about being
Well,
selfish.
our
It's
whole
about,
retreat this weekend with our clients was about that. So we
oh,
had we had Pat O'Toole as our
oh,
guest. Have you ever worked with her?
no. Oh, Pat
Yeah.
O'Toole.
Pat O'Toole, yeah, in London. She's amazing.
Yeah, she used to be one of the before I left, she was at my drama school. She was
Yeah.
one of the teachers at my drama
Yeah,
school.
and that's what she's making sure that they're really covering that in drama schools in
Yeah.
the
Mm.
UK, like
Mm.
that, because she talks about her crazy childhood, which I'm sure was insane, but like, right, and and so she was amazing, and then we had Randall, our client Randall, who had a awful thing happened to him, but he dealt with it and he talked about how he processed it. It was excellent. And then we had a hypnotherapist.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
exactly.
awesome.
Well, this is a
We were
lot.
mindset fixed after that.
That's it. A lot of the work that I did with Anastasia was hypnotherapy work. RTT it's called, or a variation of that. She does her own thing. But yeah, no, really great. And invest in yourself. It's not spending money on yourself, it's an investment in yourself
Yeah.
and in your future.
Yeah.
And you know, we deserve it. We deserve to be bloody happy. We deserve to be successful. We deserve loads of money. You know, we deserve to be financially free. We deserve abundance. We deserve all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
We really do. So, there.
All right. All right. Well, thank you. Have fun and
Mhm.
Edinburgh and I'm excited to hear all about it and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah,
Thank you for being with us.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you
for
so much. All right,
thank you.
y'all.
Thank
What?
you.
You're welcome.
Because yeah, it's just I was like thinking to myself, oh my God, what are we going to talk about?
You were thinking that? Please. Oh, okay.
I was like thinking, what are we going to talk? Will we have like, will I be able to? Oh yeah, yeah. There you go. See, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right.
Thank you. Keep doing this, you two. It's bloody brilliant.
Thank you so much and
Thank you.
thanks for being a guest. All right.
All right, I'll speak to you soon. Loads of
All right.
love.
Bye everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.